We're all set.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. I'm calling the Southborough Board of Health meeting to order on Tuesday, December, I think we're on the 19th at 12:01. Two board members are present, myself and Dr. Zulik, and I would expect Dr. Medina will join when possible. So our first order of business is public comment. So this is a remote meeting only. So if anybody has anything to say, they can raise their hand in the audience. Okay. Next is approval of the minutes from the 11/14/23 meeting. Any changes to those?
No edits on my part.
So I'm going to move that we approve the 11/14/23 minutes.
I second and vote yes.
Okay, Malinowski's yes. Tobacco education. So we had discussed at our last board meeting that we would be inviting the two businesses that had violated the FDA's inspection for tobacco products. And I know that an invitation had gone out to them. Heather, do you know if they were planning on attending this morning? Or this afternoon?
That was the plan. That was the plan. They were emailed the link yesterday, reminded for noon, and I don't see them on.
Okay, so hopefully they'll join. If not, we'll invite them to the next one until they come. Okay, 98 Southville Road. So this is a unit that houses two tenant units and a landlord unit. Our housing inspector has received complaints from both tenants, and I think we hit a crossroads last week where we weren't making as much progress as we should have been based on the orders that we had proceeded to give to the landlord. And Heather, Michael, and I met with town council last week to get some guidance, and one of the main components or one of the issues here is that the one or two of the units do not have heat. So given that we're in December and this is a time critical thing that needs to be resolved, we did file with Housing Court on Friday, and there will be a hearing on Wednesday for this. So I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware, and I think you got some information provided by Heather based on the inspection that had been done by our housing inspector. But I did not believe that we had enough time to post a separate meeting to be able to go to Housing Court. So just wanted to make sure the board was aware and didn't have any objections to proceeding this way. Any other comments, Liz, thoughts on that?
No, I've been following along. It makes sense. So,
Okay.
so I do think it is, we are not, this week is the heat, we're borderline, but once we get to next week or 2 weeks out, I mean, we're going to be pretty concerned with like pipes freezing and whatnot. So we need to get it resolved in a timely manner. Yeah.
Yeah. And, this is not something that I've experienced yet on the board. So, having access to town council has been very helpful, and town council will be representing us. So that's all taken care of on the
right. Someone will go with Michael. Steve, I think will go with Michael tomorrow to Worcester.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get this resolved for the tenants. The other concern is no working smoke detector. So I know the fire department dealt with one issue, but it sounds like not everything's been resolved. So I think, it makes sense for us to intervene at this point, given that there's some safety concerns there. Okay.
I see one tobacco owner.
Okay, so we can go back to tobacco. Adma?
Yeah.
Okay, Adma, I'm going to promote you to be a panelist.
And this was in reference to the August FDA compliance checks.
Mm-hmm.
And plans for educating the clerks.
Hi, Adma. It looks like you've been brought over. Feel free to unmute yourself if you're able. Well, hopefully you can hear me. We can't hear you yet. I can ask you to unmute.
How about now?
Oh, perfect. Great. Thank you. Welcome to the Board of Health meeting. My name's Chelsea Malinowski, and we have Dr. Liz Zulik, who's also on the board. So you have 2 out of your 3 board members present, and we appreciate you coming this afternoon to talk to us. We did receive information from the FDA on some violations related to tobacco sales, underage tobacco sales. And so we understand that those violations were not performed by our collaborative. But given that it is in our town, we just wanted to bring you in to discuss opportunities for us to help your establishment not have those violations in the future. And
Of course. I mean, we've been in the business for over 50 years, so we understand the rules. If an employee, made a mistake, we make sure to, train and let them know on the spot what the rules and regulations are to not let that happen in the future.
Okay. And I think from, a town perspective, and Dr. Medina just joined us, and he's actually our school physician for Northborough, Southborough, and also a pediatrician. So he has a lot of experience with kind of all the opioid things that are going on in our town and in the state. And so we just wanted to make sure that, that you are aware that we take this very seriously, and it's really important to us that
No, of
we
course.
follow
So do
through.
so do we.
So can you explain for us when these violations occur, what kind of actions you're able to take with the employee that had the violation, as well as making sure everybody's aware of what the rules are?
We make sure to, train on the spot. We usually give, warnings, 3 strikes, you're out. So we make sure they know what they did, what was wrong, and then how to correct it in the future. And if they make the again, whether it's they broke the rules to tobacco, or they were late to work, we have a 3 strike, you're out policy.
Okay. And have you found that generally works the first time around?
Usually, yes. Usually it's not the same person making the violation 2 times in a row.
Okay. Dr. Medina, do you have a question?
Yes. So I guess, for me, this obviously, as Chelsea said, this really hits home for what we see. And, anytime someone who is underage gets any hold of any drug, basically, this is, potential for higher risk of addiction to them. So, I think this is very different from an employee showing up late. This is
No, of course, that's way more serious. Yeah.
And what training are you giving beforehand in terms of checking for ID and verifying ID, so that we don't have these issues come up? Because how is that working? And then what is the age range of your employees as well, if you don't mind us sharing just how you're training them to check ID? What are you telling them? And then what are their own age ranges?
Our employees, we have 1 employee in his 50s, 1 employee in his 60s, and then we have 1 employee in his 30s.
And are they trained to check ID on everyone? How are they trained to check ID? Because sometimes you can't tell the age of a person.
Every single person, they have to check their ID.
You're
Sorry, you muted.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, of course.
Is there anything that the town could be doing more of, Adma, in terms of supporting you and your establishment, with training or information?
I mean, if you can, send us like any, booklets or brochures on ways we can add on to our training, I can, make sure to, print them out and, do another training class.
Okay.
Edma, are you aware of the MHOA has a 20-minute for tobacco sales for clerks on their website it's a 20-minute training little course they have.
I don't believe I've
Okay,
ever.
I have your email, so I can email you the
Yeah, sure, that'd
link. It's in English or Spanish, and you can choose.
English, please.
Okay.
And we'll also let our inspector know as well, so he can reinforce that as well.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
And we do our own inspections as well. And, we have a fine structure for that we actually just updated within the last year or so. And unfortunately we can't enforce it because the inspection wasn't performed by us, but we just wanted to have a conversation with you. And we really appreciate you coming and, for being an establishment in Southborough. And, if there's anything in the future that we can help with to help mitigate any issue like this, we'd be happy to engage you in conversation and appreciate your collaboration on that.
Okay, Chelsea, thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody have anything else before Admin leaves? Okay. Thank you. And hopefully we won't have to talk to you again.
Okay, thank you so much.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Health department and town employee wellness. Heather, do you want to give an overview of that?
I can talk about this. So, when I came in town, I think it was I'm blanking. Anyways, January 21. I meet with the town administrators, Vanessa and Mark, about every month or two. And, just to let them know about sort of resident issues and issues that we're hearing about, and they can let us know about town things that they think is potential options for the health department to be involved with. And,
I can continue. So we were just talking about it.
Sorry, I'm in the office. Sorry. Anyway, so I think during COVID, we did, play a role with employee wellness, in particular, trying to do testing for employees and keep employees on the job and limiting spread of COVID. And the assistant town administrator has been asking us for a couple years really about getting involved with employee wellness, and in the context of a bigger picture in terms of, obviously we're promoting health and wellness for the community residents, in extension promoting wellness in our employees, the benefits potentially to the town and to staff. And so the assistant town administrator has asked us to sort of collaborate with them and work kind of further on ideas that have been percolating around but really haven't happened in the past few years. So the plan is for tomorrow, Mark Purple and Vanessa Hale are meeting with Personnel Board, Michelle Johnson, and they're going to talk about potentially a little bit of budget money from FY25 and about establishing some wellness ideas for employees, and would like us to collaborate with them, bounce ideas off us, work together on ideas or lunches or potentially other offerings to employees. So I think we wanted to know from our board perspective, what, if any, involvement would you see for the employees, me and Taylor, being involved in collaborating with the town administrators about sort of bringing more to fruition currently, because I think, it hasn't happened in recent years, but more to fruition, planning some events for employees.
So Liz or Safdar, any initial thoughts on that?
I guess, would we be looking more at like things just communications, or would you be looking at wellness programs such as whether it's, yoga or things where, mindfulness, things, programs like that, nutrition. So I think there's a lot of potential information to be offered by the Board of Health in all these matters in terms of these, promoting a healthier lifestyle among employees, or does it also include providing other services to them, if they need them, in terms of employee wellness, be it more, support, emotional support.
So I think we need to be careful on the emotional support side, just with youth and family being involved, as well as just some limitations with what you're allowed to do, being a municipal employee. But I do think that if there were specific programs that they wanted us to provide support on, then we could vet through those. I think, the schools have been pretty successful with getting mindfulness programs going, for faculty and for students. So that might be something that we could look into as well. Liz?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm open. It seems like a good initiative. I'm open. I'm curious about if you guys have any thoughts specifically on what would be best.
From a program, like what types of programs?
Yeah, what types of programs, and as opposed to us guessing.
Or I mean, one thing would be to talk to employees about what they were looking for. But I think that in the past, apparently not currently, there had been a yoga that I think met at 4 or 5, after work. I think there had been also potential talk of a group that maybe meets twice a month to do walking together. Potential speakers, and like at the benefits fair, maybe to have some offerings or and like I said, I think they're talking tomorrow with personnel board, and the FY25 budget might try to put a little bit in towards the employee wellness. I think that right now it's just sort of in the planning stages, and I think that potentially if the board is in favor of us being involved, I would think both Taylor and I initially would go to meetings when this group is kind of meeting to talk about plans. I don't see this being more than like an hour a month, at this point, and I don't think it's something that we're going to be doing a lot, but I don't know exactly. I don't think there's an exact time frame put out on this, but I think that probably that would be the decision of the board if you wanted us to say join the group that's going to be working on planning this.
And Taylor, you probably have some ideas too, that from like your perspective, with your work on the wellness committee and stuff. So I think it sounds like we're open to hearing it. I don't know that we're ready to like put a time amount on it, Heather.
Yeah, I don't know the time amount. That's why I was just saying.
Yeah,
I don't know the time amount. I don't think it'll be huge.
So I think more to come, and if you can just keep us posted on kind of what options people are.
Right. So for now, we'll let them know that they can collaborate with us about.
Yeah.
Things. Okay. That's, I think, all they were looking for.
Okay. All right, Taylor, disposal of sharps.
So just mostly a reminder to the public, because we've had a few incidences here at the health department with people trying to dispose of sharps incorrectly here. The first place that sharps should be disposed of is the transfer station, in a hard plastic container, preferably, a medical grade container, but if you don't have it, something like a empty laundry jug would be acceptable. If residents don't have a transfer station sticker, they can drop the sharps with me during our business hours, which are Monday through Friday, 8 to noon. And then I can dispose of them properly. However, we have had a few incidences here when people have been dropping off sharps in plastic bags, which is a safety concern and a biohazard. So they have been during non-business hours or when someone has not been here. So it's just a reminder to the public, and there have been notices posted about that on the town website and on social media.
Any questions on that? Have there been any incidents since you kind of blasted that out? Okay. Good.
There have been more people dropping things off to me.
But appropriately, at least. Okay. I think that's an area in general that we need to figure out a better long-term solution that allows people to hand it off, but then it's a program on our side rather than Taylor kind of dealing with it. So, okay, thank you, Taylor. Okay, Collins Center contract extension. So, this is the shared service regional conversation that we're having with Collins Center for Southborough, Northborough, Boylston. And Morgan Clark and I have been kind of going through preliminary information. You guys all went through your interviews, and she's waiting on some more information externally to kind of solidify where we're going. Her and I had planned on finishing up by the end of this calendar year. We're fine on the grant. It's the report's not going to be ready by 12/31. So her and I agree that it's in the best interest of the towns that we have an extension. It's not going to cost us any more money. It's still within the contract terms. I just would rather have a solid plan with all of the appropriate information that she's waiting on. So I just wanted where the board is the ones that agreed to the contract. I just wanted a formality to extend that contract till, and we'll just extend it 6 months just so that we're covered. Any questions on that? Okay, so I'm going to move that we extend the Collins Center contract through 6/30/24.
Second and vote aye.
Aye.
Okay, Malinowski's aye. Thank you. I'll sign that today. Okay, opioid settlement fund article wording. So the good news is that the state passed something so that we don't have to go to town meeting going forward on opioid settlement funding, but we need to deal with FY24 funding. So
23 still needs to.
23 and 24, right? So we have not appropriated any money at town meeting, so we need to deal with those 2 years, and then going forward, we won't have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a proposed draft, and this is pretty much taken from Northborough because they already did it. So let me just pull it up. What did I do with it? I thought I pulled it up. Hold on a second. Oh, it's in here. So move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of, and whatever those 2 years are added together, for the use of the Board of Health to provide for substance abuse abatement activities following the town's participation in the statewide opioid settlements negotiated by the Massachusetts Attorney General, and to meet said appropriation, the sum of X be transferred from free cash. I don't have the numbers added together, so I'll have to fill those in. But if you guys are good with that wording, then I can have it added to the warrant as an article. It's generic. It's not, I mean, it doesn't say it what any of the programs are, so we're good with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'll get that order. Mark. Okay.
I think it's just FY23. I think the 24 is. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know.
Carla.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I'll have to check. Okay, upcoming schedule. So we're on for 123 at 2. Zoom. Does that still work for you guys? Okay. And you want to pick February? So I think we decided Tuesdays at 2 worked, except there were a few Tuesdays. I think that there's a meeting for the staff that we needed to try to avoid. Taylor, you know those dates in February yet?
We're looking
No.
like February
Oh,
20th.
yeah, it's a 1 o'clock meeting.
Oh,
Right,
it's-
on the,
it's 6th
the 6th
okay. Do you run
and the
over?
27th.
and the 27th. I think it's usually like the 1st and the 4th.
Okay. So how about the 13th? Because I think the week of the 19th is school vacation.
I I cannot do 12 o'clock on the I cannot do 2 o'clock, excuse me, on the 13th. I could do 12 though, if that works.
I'm pretty flexible. I can do 12 that
Okay.
day. Whichever time works.
12's fine. And just as long as we're done within the hour, right? Taylor and Heather, we're good? Okay. All right. So Barbara, 2:13 at noon.
Okay, will you send me the language that you're going to?
Yes.
put for- Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. Okay. Public comment? Okay, not seeing any public comment. All right. Record time. Thank you for being flexible. I know this was not our original scheduled time, but I wanted to get that contract signed off on before the end of the year. So if there's not anything else, if you guys have any agenda items for next month, just shoot them over. Have a great holiday. Have a great time home with your kids. And I move that we adjourn at 12:27.
Second, I vote aye.
I vote aye.
And Malinowski's aye. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Happy holidays.